Hey, and happy Thursday to everybody. We are here with somebody that I have enjoyed for quite some time, and somehow this is just astonishing to me. This is the first time that Tim has been on the channel. Everybody say hello to Tim Talks Talkies. Tim, thanks for doing this.
Thank you so much for asking me, man. Once you asked, I'm like, heck yes, I am totally in.
I don't know how it never happened the first time. I swear that this was in my mind. It happened like 6 months ago. So I'm glad it's finally here. For those that have never done anything with Tim's channel, please check out the link in the description below. Tim is a fantastic creator, big lover of steelbooks, somebody
Yes.
that is a positive force for physical media, which is what we all need right now. So Tim, why don't you tell everybody what you do on your channel?
Uh, I wish I could tell like an easy focus. I'm never good at promoting myself. It's just I'm just a guy that loves movies, so I talk physical media, but I also have hobbies like my statues behind me, and I love movie posters and different collectibles. So my channel is just all things movies that I love. I don't really have a focus. I just love movie stuff.
Going to conventions is a big thing for Tim. You
Yes,
got another
I
one
love.
coming up?
Yes, Steel City in Pittsburgh. I'm going to be going next month. They're going to have mostly everybody from the first Scream, which is awesome. I mean, I'm basically just Courtney Cox and Drew Barrymore away from having like the whole cast when I go. And they're also going to have the whole Christmas Story cast, which is awesome.
That's a big deal. Anybody else that you got your eyes on?
Alec Baldwin is going to be there. Famke Janssen. Geez, it's a big con. There's a lot of people. McKenna Grace, because at New York Comic Con I met Chris Evans and got a gifted poster signed. So then I'm going to get McKenna Grace to sign it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very nice. That's pretty damn cool.
I'm a big autograph guy.
I wasn't for the longest time, and then since I don't know, maybe like since the pandemic, which is the great time to be meeting people in person to have them sign things. That was like I all of a sudden just like, it's kind of nice to get some of these. I was never like the starstruck kind to go, man, I have to get their signature, but there's just something about it that is nice to be able to hold on to that.
Oh, absolutely. That staring at them gives me the memories of the time, and some of them are more positive. Some people are just great to meet, and then there's other ones who are like Peter Weller, who was kind of just an old grump, but he was still Peter Weller.
Yeah. I think one of the big reasons that it's kind of flipped on me is because I met Sid Haig in August of the year that he passed, and he passed like 45 days after we met him. And I
Wow.
happened to get something signed. And I'm like, this is perfect. I am so glad that I had this right then. This is a great time.
Yeah. Yeah, you'll always hold on to that memory, though. You just look at the autograph, and it just brings back memories.
There's one question I don't think I've ever heard you answer. Either that or I never went back to the archives of every single video to find out. Why Talks Talkies? Why is that part of the name on the channel?
Because so many people use Blu-ray or movie or some variant of it, and I love classic movies. And for anyone that doesn't know, after we transitioned from silent era into talking, they were called talkies, and
Yep.
no one refers to it like that. And I wanted to have something kind of original in me.
Pretty damn original. I'm into it. Let's see. Tonight, just so everybody's aware, we're going to be talking about Criterions. Next discussion after all of our announcements, we're going to go into 5 underrated recommendations, things that aren't quite as on the tip of everybody's tongue right now as they're going through the sale. And it's a big deal. Barnes & Noble sales, one of everybody's, that's in this hobby. They look forward to this twice a year.
Yep.
And it's the most accessible time for these. Most of the Barnes & Nobles, they usually stock up at least a couple times during the month, and they really try to get some of these titles out there. And I tried to pick 5 that they'll probably have, ones that you would find, but not ones that people talk about a lot. So we're going to talk about those. But first, we normally talk about pickups and recent watches. So why don't we talk about some recent watches first, Tim? What have you been watching?
Ooh, okay. So I'm not a big Letterboxd guy, but I've actually been starting to track on here at least, and I'll convert it. But last night I watched Blue Steel for the first time.
Nice.
I know we have the Vestron now, but I actually watched it from the imprint release from the Neo Noir set.
Yep.
Really cool movie, man. I enjoyed that a lot. I don't know why I never watched that one.
That is a darker movie than you would expect. It came out right in that perfect time of like Unlawful Entry was coming out right around then, and it's
That's
just
a good one too.
it's not like pure propaganda, but it's very Jamie Lee Curtis is just a badass, odd, weird villain in that film, and just crazy storyline. Love that movie.
Yeah, the dude just will not go down. My wife and I are looking at each other like, my God, this guy's like the Terminator. He just keeps coming.
The big thing though, that Blue Steel on Vestron, that'll be the first time that's on Blue in the US, and it sounds, I mean, it's Vestron, so it should be fairly cheap if they're keeping with the standard that they've been doing. And well, you could have found it for a while at Best Buy, and not for much longer now.
No, not for much longer. But it should be Walmart normally. Walmart normally has the Vestrons lately. So
yeah.
I highly recommend picking that one up though.
It's a good one. You watched that from Imprint. Did you ever happen to watch Testament?
I did not. I didn't get to that one yet. I'm in the noir mood right now, so I was kind of going for that. But I did pick it up. I have it back there because you recommended it. I bought it from Orbit that night, and I will be getting to it. I just, like I said, I'm heavily in the noir mood right now.
It is a solid overall package. Some very apocalyptic extras on that, I'll say. There's some awkward, like a PowerPoint presentation of what to do during a nuclear explosion type of things. It's wild. Great release.
Yeah, I'm totally in for it though. When you started selling it and then I looked it up, I'm like, yeah, this is a me movie, definitely.
It sounded like a Tim movie.
Yeah,
anything else? You were talking about Goosebumps. I haven't gotten to any of that yet.
Yeah, so the Goosebumps TV show, I've been really digging it. I went in kind of skeptical because it looked kind of typical teenish show now, and I wanted more of the anthology feel, like the original show. But they somehow make this work. They throw in the old storylines kind of with the same continuing characters. It actually works. I like it. Shockingly, it's fun.
I was kind of a similar vein. I was stoked to see Bloody Disgusting report that they are working on another of those Fear Street movies, and I really liked that trilogy.
I did too. They were fun. I liked them a lot.
I would love to see another trilogy, but it sounds like it's just going to be another one movie at a time, unfortunately.
But yeah, otherwise, I've been in a heavy noir mood. Though, actually, one thing that's not noir that I watched that I actually recommend, I watched Quiz Lady on Hulu. I enjoyed that quite a bit. It's with Aquafina.
It's the new one, okay.
Yes, I enjoyed that a lot, man. Watching that is making me like, dang it, I wish that would get a physical because it's probably not going to.
Yeah, I mean, probably not, but it's getting marketed like crazy.
It's good. It's pretty dang good. I was shocked. It had heart and laughs. I want to own it.
How do you normally feel about Aquafina? Because I know she's very hit or miss for a lot of people.
Her straight up comedy stuff is but she can do drama stuff pretty well. Like Quiz Lady has drama moments, and The Farewell is fantastic. Yeah. I loved The Farewell.
Yeah, I've liked her in pretty much everything that she's done. It's the like one man show type of things that she's tried to do. I've never been super big into that stuff for her, but even some of the comedy shows that she's been a part of, when she hits, she hits.
Yeah. I had a blast with Quiz Lady, but I love daytime like game shows, Price is Right, and things like that. And if you like that type of stuff, it's fun.
One of my recent watches, this is for something I'm working on. Did you ever get to see The Final Girls?
No, that was a recommendation from someone, and I went. It was on no streaming, and the Blu-ray for some reason when I looked, it was like $18. I'm like, not yet.
It's one that doesn't get down to a decent price very often. It is a shockingly original, like decent movie. The premise of it is there's an individual whose mom was in a summer camp slasher like 20 years ago, and they are living life, and she's like over the fact that she was in the slasher movie, and there's a tragedy that happens and she dies. And that's not really a spoiler because it happens in the first 3 minutes of the movie. But the daughter lives through this tragedy, and so she's facing the fact that her mom was gone, and somebody gets her to go to a rep screening of her mom's old movie, and she hasn't seen the movie since her mom passed away, so it's this big poignant emotional moment. But as they're in this movie, there's another tragedy that strikes, and because of some weird happenstance, her and her group of friends end up in the movie with her mom and with all of these actors. It's this weird, like, Happy Death Day kind of premise that it's interesting. And so she's dealing with the fact that she lost her mom. Now she's in this movie with her mom and dealing with the weird, it's a slasher still. It's a great movie. I think people need to check it out.
So it's sounding a lot like the newer movie Totally Killer, which maybe it ripped a bunch of that off, because as you describe that, it sounds like you're describing Totally Killer. Like,
I haven't seen Totally Killer yet, but
a lot of the plot points, it's the mother was attacked as a teen and then killed later down the line, and then the daughter travels back in time accidentally. It's there is it sounds a lot like it, man, when you described it.
Interesting. I did not know it that it was like that. Yeah. Terry says the Final Girls has a lot of heart that one wouldn't always associate with the genre, and I would agree. Yeah, it has a lot of emotional beats that are nice. It's very, very. You can tell a lot of people could watch that to cope with losing a loved one from a while ago.
I'm gonna have to check it out, especially because I enjoyed Totally Killer. But if Totally Killer is kind of a ripoff, I would like to see where it actually came from. Because, man, you described it. I swear it sounds so similar.
Sibner says Totally Killer is basically a slasher Back to the Future, and I've heard that exact sentence, and I've been wanting to see it. It's just been, unfortunately, at the bottom of the queue. Another one that I watched recently, and I've watched about 2/3 of it. I got to finish it tomorrow morning, but Mondo Macabro. I know that you laughed when I pulled out some of those titles during one of the tournaments we were in. Have you got anything from them? Have you watched anything from Mondo Macabro?
Zero.
So they put out a Bollywood horror box set, and people that have not dove into that yet and they own it, please watch something out of there, man. This box set is so unique. Some decent music, really interesting premises. The set pieces are so well done, but through it all, it's just so India, so 80s, so weird. It's just a wonderful box set. It's so much fun.
Bollywood puts out some interesting stuff, man. That RRR was something.
Love that movie. Well, you always have a shit ton of pickups. What do you got that you want to talk about tonight?
So I just got some to highlight. I have like all that down there as pickups that I didn't even do for a video.
I love that it's so obvious that that's Barbie there on top. It's so clear.
I was so bummed. I wanted it release day, and there was no Steelbook here. I'm like, what the heck? Where's the Steelbook? But then it's like a week later, Orbit puts it up. Add to cart, purchase.
Same. Yeah.
So one of the things, we have a lot of books in this house. I have an entire book room also, like our own home library. Yeah. We have a lot of Stephen King. I enjoy a lot of Stephen King. This set from Via Vision is really freaking cool, man. I like it a lot. And what's really cool is Bag of Bones, first time to Blu-ray, or at least it's not here yet. And Riding the Bullet, which I actually watched from here. I think I watched it when it first came out, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. The rest of it, I didn't necessarily need, but it's a cool box. This is the definitive, I bought it because of packaging, essentially. Yeah. But even the spines, they look like worn books.
Nice.
It's cool. It's a cool set.
I've held off because, of course, with Kino and what the studio did, I've already got 2 of those on 4K, so I don't necessarily want to downgrade those 2. But, man, having the other 2 in there that we don't have here is just a plus. I kind of want it.
Yeah, I know. There's a lot of those times when Imprint and Via Vision have them, they do come to the U.S. down the line, but I love King, so I was like, I got to get it.
Same.
And speaking of Imprint, when I added Barbie to the cart, not Barbie. This is actually when I bought Testament. I didn't want to just put one thing in there. So I threw in the Jennifer Connelly box set.
Nice.
I really like their actor and director focused box sets.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had to have this one. Man, I swear Imprint has become like one of my favorite labels. I freaking love their stuff.
They're so great at what they do. The only thing, I just wish they weren't so cost prohibitive.
Oh, they're so expensive, man. So expensive.
The single titles I can usually try to justify at around $30, but when a box set is, $130, it starts to get a much more difficult time.
I want that Walter Hill set so freaking bad. And it was, what was it, 59 on Orbit or something like that. I'm like, oh my
Something
God,
like that.
I want it though so bad. This one's going to be one that's going to probably make you like shocked because the physical media community has been loving this label. My very first Radiance title, which I'm going to be checking
Oh,
this out
wow.
soon. Yeah, everything I've seen and heard about Radiance is fantastic, but I just never grabbed any of their stuff. But everyone has been gooing and gawing over this one, so I had to pick it up, and I'm going to finally dive into Radiance and see what they're all about. But packaging wise, it looks awesome.
Have you ever seen Messiah of Evil?
No, this is taking a blind chance, man. Blind chance.
You are going to be ecstatic. This is
Ooh.
probably one of the easiest blind buys that I don't usually say this often. I think almost anybody could get this film and like it way more than most films. Messiah of Evil is like an across the board great film for most people.
Oh, damn. You're making me want to jump out of the noir this month to watch that.
It would be a nice one for you, I think.
I got 2 more here to show.
Yeah.
Super excited to get this one in.
Yeah.
It was either the end of September or the beginning of October. I watched the first Ginger Snaps for the first time in my life. I enjoyed the heck out of it. It was a lot of fun, man. I dug it. So Second Sight having a box set for the trilogy, I had to. Second Sight box sets are incredible. Yep. So I'm not going to rewatch the first yet because I just watched it, but I have to dive into 2 and 3. I hear they're not as good, but
they're not. Yeah.
But look at that artwork.
It's pretty great. And Second Sight is always fantastic.
Yeah. So I had to. And then because I'm kind of a horror for steelbooks, I don't know why we didn't get a Black Phone steelbook here, but that's a gorgeous steelbook. And I loved Black Phone. One of my favorite movies from that year. I enjoyed the hell out of it.
So, this is great that you're showing this because I forgot to mention this last week. I am hearing the Black Phone from Turbine is quietly already out of print. And
really?
This is a big deal because it just released. Yeah. And supposedly one of the reasons that it's out of print so quickly is because the 4K in Germany is an incredible not restoration, but an incredible scan, incredible 4K release. And it was like exponentially better than the 4K release in the States. And the studio didn't like that. So they quietly said, you're not going to sell anymore.
Well, damn, I'm happy I got this then because I freaking loved this one. Did you like this movie?
I thought that it was great for about 2/3 of it. I wasn't a huge fan of the final act. I loved the tension they created before the main character was kidnapped, but after that, it kind of let me down a little bit. But I adore Ethan Hawke. Supposedly they're working on a sequel. I just hope that it's very Ethan Hawke heavy.
Yeah, I don't know how I guess you go prequel.
Probably, yeah.
But the actress that played the sister, she was good, man. She was
amazing,
really good.
Yeah, I was a big fan of the first 1 to 2 acts of that. I really wish that they could have kept that tension going, but I don't know. Just something about it didn't sit right for me. I pulled out 3 to talk about because I feel like not many people are talking about the Pusher trilogy from Umbrella. You talked about a couple imprint releases, and Umbrella also from Australia, and this trilogy. First off, I've never seen any of these movies, and some people that I trust are telling me that these are the best crime films they've ever seen. And people that love Nicholas Winding Refn saying everything in this box set is way better than Drive, which a lot of people worship that film. I don't really worship it like most, but it's a good movie. And if these are even better, the big thing to me is a friend of mine, Howard S. Berger, did an ongoing visual essay over all 3 pieces. So you get this big connecting snapshot. I can't wait to check that out. Which one to show next? I love this movie. I am very surprised that Arrow put out a 4K of Witness.
Yes, that's over my pile. Oh, yes.
If you've never seen Witness, please pick this up and check it out. This is such a unique storyline for a movie, a film that probably would not come together nowadays because they wouldn't put money into something like this. They would think that it would fail. This movie's amazing, and Harrison Ford, maybe a hot take here. I think he might be at the top of his game in this movie.
So what's funny is back on Huck's Pop Culture Cafe's channel, he did a Harrison Ford tournament thing I was on. A bunch of us were pretty much going through all of his movies and deciding what's the best Harrison Ford movie. That won. Because collectively, we just Witness is his best role. Witness is the best movie of his.
I'm very impressed by that.
Yeah. It's a fantastic movie.
It really is. Really, really is. Video Store Review says, I can endorse the praise for the Pusher films. I also think they're the best reference made by a mile. Wow.
Oof.
Love that. Witness is terrific. Peter Weir doesn't get the love he deserves. Indeed. Last thing, I've not seen many people talking about this, but showing up the 4K from A24.
Yeah, I want to see that really bad. It looks good. I wanted to go to theaters for it.
Yeah, I did too. Love me some Kelly Reichardt, one of the best modern filmmakers. And for some reason, I glossed over the fact when I was posting this that these beautiful art cards are in here. Like, these are some of the better supplements that I've seen in some of these releases. I'm very happy to get this.
Yeah, I'm absolutely ordering that soon enough. But when I order that, I'll probably throw that in, and I still never got Marcel the Shell, so I'll probably just order several things at once.
I've got my Marcel somewhere. Stan says it's not Ford's best. Well, then what's better? Come on.
Yeah,
I'll fight you, Stan.
If you're going Harrison Ford roles, so that's taking out Star Wars he's just in Star Wars.
Right.
And so Indiana Jones, yes, but Indiana Jones, I think, is just the collective of how fun they are. Acting wise, Witness he's better in Witness.
I would agree.
I don't know what else comes close. Witness is just, as a whole, it's number one for me. I mean, it's fantastic.
The only other one I could see somebody arguing is maybe The Fugitive. But it doesn't hit me the same way.
No, and I'll be honest, Tommy Lee Jones kills it in a lot of scenes in that, though, that are more memorable than even Harrison's roles. I want every outhouse, every road, I love that scene. I can't quote it, but I love that scene.
Oh man, lots of good comments on that. I am stoked. Regarding Henry, that's another good one too.
I enjoyed it.
No, come on, dude. It's not Harrison Ford's best in American Graffiti. 6 days, 7 nights. All right. One of the things that we should probably at least argue about for a moment.
Oh God, I think I know where you're gonna go.
Tim, why don't you tell us about the video you posted this morning?
Oh God. So my most recent video on my channel is one actually I thought it would be more disruptive in the community than it is, which is nice actually. I'm not a fan of slipcovers. I really don't care about them. I'm thinking about taking off all of my slips and pretty much just giving them to people because I don't need them. They mean nothing.
Before we get too deep into this, I completely agreed with everything you said. I've considered it many, many times. I just haven't taken the time to do it. It seems like something I would love to have accomplished, but it's so cumbersome just to sit down and do it.
I figured it out too. If you have a full or at least with the shelves I have, I can fit 20 across with slips. I fit 23 without slips. That's a lot of movies when you go shelf by shelf. That's a lot of extra room. And it just, I think, looks better. So like there's a lot of people, so the Kino Lorbers, there's a lot of people that don't like they're just plain black.
I love it. It's so nice.
I love it. And when you take the slips off of them, it's just all uniform across the board. I just prefer it.
Craig from Deaf Crocodile says that's an interesting take for someone who's a self-confessed steelbook whore.
That's the thing. I love steelbooks. I love them. My mind places value and I care about steelbooks. I've spent $150 on a single steelbook already, but I won't spend even a penny more for a copy with a slipcover. It just doesn't mean anything to me. It's just, especially when it's most of the time the same artwork, at least from studios, it's mostly all the same exact artwork. And it's not even like, hey, all releases have slips. they pick and choose which ones have slips. So what's the point then?
Yeah, and for those that haven't watched the video yet, he's primarily talking about the studio slipcovers, not things like Paramount Presents, not things like a Vinegar Syndrome partner label title. We're talking about the ones that are the same exact art, the pointless cover over cover. It's the same art. I've never understood that.
Yep. That's why I had to make sure I put 99% of slip covers, because there's that 1% that I care and I'll keep, but the rest of them, yeah.
Dustin, bless Tim, he finally lost me. I've never understood the studio thing. Like, if you're gonna put a slipcover on it and you're gonna spend a couple cents on it, why not just do it the original poster art? If you're gonna do new promotional art, do the original poster, do something.
Yes. I don't know, man. Even if it's the same artwork, but the sleeve is reversible, and then it gives you the option to reverse it, so you have different art for slip and cover. But most of them don't do that. We hardly get reversible artwork as a whole.
Yeah,
but
that's true.
When we did that trip to Bull Moose, a whole bunch of the community went to Bull Moose, and I'm watching everyone in the store just they're going to town. They're going ape shit over this stuff. They're grabbing all these things like, oh, look at this. And most of it was because of they were finding copies with slip covers. And to me, I'm looking at the store. It was mostly common stuff. Like, I didn't come away with that much because it was a lot of commons.
Right.
But they cared about finding the slip covers, and I'm like, that means nothing.
That makes sense. Oh, John says, come on, fellas, no politics, religion, or slip slander here. Slip slander should almost be like the name of a podcast or something, talking about the most ridiculous eBay sales of the week, or something like that.
If anyone was subscribed now, they're unsubscribing.
They had you open another tab and going, oh, never mind.
I'm actually, to be honest though, I'm shocked that video has been pretty well received. I'm shocked, because I thought people were just gonna rip into me, but it's been pretty well received, which is pretty cool.
People love you, Tim. We're glad to have it. I was just joshing. There's no reason to argue there. It's, especially when it's the same art, it's absolutely pointless. And I mean, we're all out of space. Well, not all of us, but many of us are out of space. If you just toss slipcovers, you've got at least room for another 40 more, probably.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's not like I want to toss them. I'm just giving them to people. I gave Bob like 30 of them, and I'll give them to people. I don't care.
Right. And now we are here just for the two of us, and we're going to be talking about some Criterion stuff.
Yes.
So the first thing, I guess, how many Criterion releases do you have, sir?
In total?
Yeah, ballpark.
So it's right there. That is there. That whole thing is Criterion, besides like a couple of stray arrows that didn't fit, but otherwise that's all Criterion. So I don't know, it's 100 and something, besides the ones that are pulled out on the floor and next to me. And
yeah, I probably got around like 130, 140. Nothing massive, but still quite a few. Criterion, great titles for the most part. Almost everything that they put out is incredibly beloved movies that are known to be some of the best. They were like the original boutique label. They started a lot of these audio commentaries to get them popular. They have shown a lot more care for stuff than many of these other boutiques ever will. And yet they've also kind of let themselves go a little bit in the last few years, I would say. I think that they've been passed in quality by some boutique labels, but they still have a lot to love. And I think that they are up there for top 10 boutique labels of all time, still undoubtedly. It's not even really a debate. They're honestly probably top 5. But a lot of their stuff kind of gets recommended into the ground. You hear about, oh gosh, you hear about The Princess Bride all the damn time. And it just got a 4K and it looks great and it's a great release and you should have that. But we don't want to talk about Princess Bride. We want to talk about stuff that most people don't talk about. So we each got 5 titles. We're going to go through them and share some love for some films. So Tim, why don't you share your first one?
All right. So the first one. So I don't know how much do you like 12 Monkeys? at all?
I like 12 Monkeys a lot.
Okay, so Criterion wise, this double feature, specifically this Le Jeté, is a 1960s black and white silent film told in just pictures, and it is the inspiration for this. Like, if you watch Le Jeté, you're gonna be like, "Oh damn!" Like, I totally see where they got the inspiration and the ideas for 12 Monkeys. So while this isn't like considered, I don't think, a straight up remake, a
Hmm,
lot of it comes from this. It's really damn good.
interesting.
Yeah.
That's a
It's
good
it's short
recommendation.
too. It's only 27 minutes long. It's all told in moving or sorry, still images besides one moving image at the very end. Otherwise, it's just black and white still images are the story.
Hmm.
It's pretty cool.
Wow. Yeah, that's a much deeper cut than all 5 of mine, like I said. Um, I chose 5 that, are not harped on enough, but 5 that I absolutely love. One, is gonna be this first one, very different than a silent film of just black and white, not moving images. I'm gonna go with the incredible Broadcast News.
Ooh,
This has maybe my favorite dialogue in all cinematic history. And I say that meaning every sense of that word. And that's a very, very strong sentence. And I know that. The dialogue in this is genuine, it's real. The chemistry that comes with it is built in a way that feels so authentic. Some incredible performances on here. Overall, just an amazing drama. Like, this movie is hilarious. This movie is heartfelt and poignant. If you've never seen Broadcast News, which doesn't get talked about enough when
it
it
does.
comes to these Criterion sales, this movie is a masterpiece. I adore this movie.
Yeah, it's kind of wild what does get like there's these select movies that will get recommended into the ground, and then there's some of the stuff that we're going to be talking about.
Yeah.
Even though I feel like some of my pile I've personally recommended into the ground, but this is a different audience of people that might not have heard
Yep.
me recommend these into the ground.
That's exactly how I feel about this next title that I'm going to talk about.
So I am going to go with next, and anyone that watches my channel, you've heard me talk about this one, but I don't care. I adore Summertime. I love this movie so much, and this one does not get talked about near as much. Even when you talk Katharine Hepburn, you're hearing other stuff like Bringing Up Baby and some other stuff she's in that gets more love. Summertime is a very simple movie. It's just her in her 50s deciding to finally take a trip by herself. She's going in Venice, and the first 40 minutes of the movie is literally just her on vacation. You're just taking in the scenery with her.
Yep.
And then she ends up falling in love with the married man. And it is so bittersweet by the end. The cinematography is outstanding. This is a David Lean movie. Uh it's fantastic. I hype this one up so freaking much. Uh More people need to see it. It's a vibe though. That's what I've heard it described as. It's a vibe movie. You either love that there's very little story or you hate it. My wife hates it. She hated this movie. But I adore it. It's fantastic. You're just so in the mood. And God, the cinematography is so outstanding. They almost shot this on a set, and he demanded it shot on location in Venice.
Thank goodness.
Worth it all the way. It's so good.
That's a good pick. And again, not one that everybody talks about. Everybody talks about the same handful of titles, and that does not ever get mentioned. This one, the filmmaker has multiple films in the collection, and I think this is his most underrated Criterion film. And again, if you watch his channel a lot, you've heard me talk about this movie. But it's that time of the year, and I don't think enough people are checking out John Waters' Polyester.
Nice.
This
It's
movie,
signed.
it is signed.
Ooh.
Divine in this movie is simply divine. Everything about this is pretty damn close to peak John Waters, I think. Some of the funniest scenes that he's ever been able to get down. Biggest budget that he had at the time because this is the first studio film. Really, really great performances throughout. Some of the just weirdest situations, and then going through the whole process of getting the Criterion, and then of course that comes with the Odorama card and doing it the right way. This release is so damn worth it. I think this is easily the best Criterion John Waters title, and everybody always wants to talk about Pink Flamingos. But man, this movie, I think this is the Criterion John Waters to get.
So you're kind of selling me on watching my copy that I've had in my collection for a while. I got it in a trade from someone. He had not much I wanted, but he had that. And I'm like, it's a Criterion. I guess I'll take that. And yeah, it's just been sitting in the collection. I've never gotten around to watching it.
I think everybody should. It is a role for for Divine that is just so odd, playing this housewife that is going through everything. It's such a weird movie. Love polyester.
Nice. Okay, so and we are recommending stuff here that people generally don't talk about.
So far, so good.
Pink Flamingos is by far what people talk about with him, and I think part of it's because it has a pretty slip on it that looks like a bag. But yeah. Anyways.
Well, I can't reach it. I was going to show. I've got that one signed too.
All right. So for my next one, before I was kind of oogling with Douglas Sirk and Rock Hudson together because I am a big fan also of Magnificent Obsession. Nice. Also a Sirk movie with Rock Hudson. This movie, it's a melodrama that it's crushing but poignant. It's basically they're on a small little island and her husband is the doctor on the island. And he's a rich guy that he's rich. He gets to do whatever the hell he wants because he's rich. He ends up crashing a boat, needs the one respirator that's on the island, while the same time the doctor needs it because, he's dying. There's only one. So, of course, the rich guy gets it so that the husband ends up dying. And then the whole movie is him trying to pretty much make it up to her and fall in love with her. Really good movie. Like, fantastic movie. He has great character growth, which is, I guess, part of it because rich people are assholes. And he ends up actually becoming a good person by the end of the movie. In the start of the movie, you hate him. He's just a rich dick. But by the end, he's great.
Great cover on that one, too.
It really is. So really loved this movie. Like, I seriously can't recommend this one enough.
Nice. My next one I talked about a little bit on the channel last year because I interviewed the director, and I got to highlight Sean Baker's Takeout. This movie, it knows like how to gut me quickly. My day job, for those that don't know, I work for immigration, and to tell a good immigrant story and to have somebody that is dealing with paying off some of the debt from moving over here. Our main character that you see here on the cover goes to a loan shark, and he owes a shit ton of money, and they come to collect and basically say by sundown you have to pay us back or we're gonna beat the crap out of you. And unfortunately he works his tail off all day to get this, and this tells the story of him covering shifts, biking through the rain to take people their money, to get shafted on tips, and it has just the most realistic, it's not super realistic, obviously, because it's done in this fantastical way, but it's done, it tells the story in a way that you just are so emotionally invested that if he gets it, you're going to feel this immense freedom, and if he doesn't get it, you're going to be gutted alongside with them, and it takes you on every step of that. I still think Sean Baker is a master storyteller in modern filmmaking, and this is a great release. A lot of good special features on it, and they really dove deep with Sean to get as much as they could. So it's a great release. I love Takeout.
Yeah, so that's on my list because I will say Florida Project is one of my favorite, if not my favorite, A24 movie. So I like Sean Baker. Florida Project was amazing. So Takeout's been kind of on the list to eventually pick up.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
These are really good picks. I'm trying to think. I actually pulled like 7 or 8, so I'm trying trying to decide. All right, so next one. Lots of people love Laura Dern. I love Laura Dern. She's amazing in Jurassic Park. I'm not talking Jurassic Park. Smooth Talk needs
Smooth
more
talk.
love. Uh, it's a hard movie to categorize because the first probably half to 3/4 of it is a coming of age movie for Laura Dern, and she's coming to find her sexuality, and she's kind of battling her mom. She's at odds with her mom, but Treat Williams' character kind of comes into it, and you don't know anything about him, but he's a sleazeball creep, and stuff starts to happen. This turns from like a coming of age into kind of like a thrillery type thing. It's so weird. It's so good. I my jaw was on the floor by the end of this thing because it leaves it pretty open. I think I know which way my mind says it went, but it's a really freaking great movie. Laura Dern is fantastic. She's like 14 or 15 in this movie. Like she's
So
young.
young.
Yeah. So you saw this one?
Oh yeah. I adore Laura Dern as well. There's not a lot of films from her that I would not recommend very quickly. She is one that I don't even remember. It was probably Jurassic Park that I saw first, but gosh, Wild at Heart maybe just took me from like, oh yeah, she's pretty good to holy shit, can she act?
Yeah. So when you watched Smooth Talk, did you know much about it going in or anything?
I knew nothing going in.
So were you also like, what the hell when it took the tonal shift?
Yes.
I was like, oh my God. But
that's
so
the thing. Who else could have pulled that off though?
Yeah.
Laura Dern is the perfect thing. She portrays emotion so well.
Yeah.
So well.
Yep. So I loved that one. And I've always loved Treat Williams also. And to see him play just it's icky. That's what it is. It makes you feel icky by the end.
Oh God, these are really good picks. I'm proud of us, Tim. We've done great tonight. Okay, next one is from a really solid year of film. And I talked about this fairly recently, and I kind of just wanted to highlight it again tonight because if you missed that last episode, people need to know about 1997's Eve's Bayou.
Ooh, I picked that up last sale. I got to watch that still.
This movie that takes all of this just gorgeous scenery of New Orleans and takes the witch understory, the voodoo understory that always seems to be a part of what you hear about some of these tales around New Orleans, and brings this just pitch perfect cast into this devastating drama that is at heart like, if you're just explaining the synopsis to somebody, it comes off as a horror story. It doesn't play like a horror story. It plays more as like this intense drama. But the acting in this film is the best thing about it. It delivers on every single level. Eve's Bayou is a gift, and people should be looking at it as an acting masterclass from everybody in it. It tells an incredible story, and if you've never seen it, again, easy to overlook. It came out around Titanic. It came out and was unfortunately kind of pushed to the side, primarily because it's a mostly black cast. And it's just so freaking perfect. That movie's amazing. And if you've never seen it, put it on your list.
Sadly, I think with the most recent announcements from Criterion, Mudbound was announced. And I loved Mudbound. And like nobody was talking about it from that announcement. It was basically every other release but Mudbound. And that's, I guess, same thing with Eve's Bayou. Like, it's basically just kind of pushed to the side because I'm going to champion Mudbound when it's out, and no one's going to care. Like, it's a fantastic movie.
Yep. Good pick. All right, sir. We're on our last ones.
All right. You know what? All right. Screw it. I'm going to go with this one because I love James Stewart. This one came and went, and no one mentions Flight of the Phoenix now.
So quickly.
So good. This is a great movie. It's an oil, what would you call it? An oil yard or whatever is being shut down, and he's the pilot. He has to take everybody back, and the plane ends up crashing, and they're trapped in the desert for weeks trying to figure out how to get out. This had a remake in like '05 with Dennis Quaid. If so, maybe people remember that version, but this version is really freaking great. Not only James Stewart, who kind of plays, he's kind of a dick, which is unusual for him. He's normally kind of the likable everyman,
Right.
and he's kind of a dick in this. And you more so like his co-pilot, which is Richard Attenborough. Again, going with some Jurassic Park here. Younger Richard Attenborough. Really freaking great movie, man. It's so good. I don't know why this came and went so fast. And it even has a little buildable paper airplane.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't know why this one came and went. I don't get it. No
It
one.
really did. Like, obviously, when it got announced, people talked about it for a good day and a half, and that was it. That's one I don't have it, and I've not seen it. I need to check it out. It's always funny when you get Stewart playing. Would you call it an anti-hero in that?
Kind of for a good chunk of it. Like he's just this grouch that doesn't want to. He just wants to kind of wait it out. He's not very friendly at all. Like Richard Attenborough is the one that's kind of the buffer between him and everybody else in the movie.
It was such a different time. Like nowadays, I feel like we get unlikable characters playing heroes all the damn time because it's viewed as like this more compelling story. But back then, it was a genuine risk to put somebody in, and if your lead is going to be an anti-hero or a dick, basically,
Yeah.
you're not going to want to cast somebody that people are not going to appreciate. So when you cast Stewart as the anti-hero or the asshole, it's somebody that the audience is already going, well, it's Jimmy Stewart. Okay, I can support this a little bit. So it's like buy-in, and now they're meeting you halfway. Because if it was anybody else, if it was somebody that's unknown, man, fuck this movie. I don't want to watch this. This is terrible.
Yeah.
Um,
It's so freaking great. I don't know why it doesn't get the love. I don't get it.
It's a good question, and yeah, it's one of those that people put it out there in an announcement and then completely forgot about it. That's it.
Yep.
All right, this is not one that I've talked about a whole lot, but a little bit of a ulterior motive, I guess you could say, because we were talking about Swiss Conspiracy earlier, and again, even though he's one of the most influential directors of all time, Jack Arnold and
Ooh.
The Incredible Shrinking Man. Again, this came out, and a lot of people, they picked it up and talked about it for 5 minutes. This movie is so much deeper than just tiny man, large surroundings. There's existential crises, there's nihilism, there's what is life sort of moments where you're trying to figure out what is the meaning of everything around you. This movie is so much deeper than you expect, and again, expertly directed by Jack Arnold. I think that people that have not checked out this, and you have checked out a sci-fi stuff that is more capital S sci-fi, this is a really great bridge to some of the other stuff that he's done. And this movie specifically, I think, is one that people should check into, like the way that it was made. There's so many great stories surrounding this, but yes, part of the reason why I'm highlighting that is because Will and we worked on the mini Jack Arnold documentary that's coming out on that Swiss Conspiracy disc, and Jack Arnold has done so much in his lifetime. It is such a wild just exploration of genres that he put out, and Incredible Shrinking Man to me is his masterpiece, I think. And I know that a lot of people give a lot of love to a couple of those sci-fi films. Incredible Shrinking Man, though, it gets forgotten somehow in the Criterion catalog, and I don't get it. It hasn't been around for too long, and I get that.
No, it really is not that old of a release, but again, it kind of came and went.
Yeah, it is such a great freaking disc. It's one of my favorite releases in the last few years. Absolutely love it.
Yeah, I don't know. There is just those certain movies, like you mentioned with Princess Bride, that just stick around. That's always mentioned, and we're gonna always hear about Malcolm X and Thelma and Louise and Parasite and some of these others. But I mean, for how many movies are we up to on Criterion now? Like, there's lots of other ones to talk about.
Yep. Gosh, we're at I think 1,300 something now. High Sierra, Smithereens, Medium Cool, Fishing with John,
Yes.
Symbiocyto, Taxoplasm, Take One. I definitely don't have that one yet. Great Criterion release no one talks about. Weekend, the 2011 Andrew Haig film, not the Godard one. Yeah, there's a lot of great
I guess
Criterions.
just because they're next to me too, those were the ones that didn't make the cut to talk about.
Failsafe is a
Uh,
good one.
yeah, Failsafe's great, but no one's talking about this. Maybe got a little bit more talking now, just because there is a Nolan remake, but no one knows what the hell that one is.
Nope.
Nobody.
Oh man, there's so many films that if you like pull one strand of interest out of one of these Criterion films, usually there's a tie to another release. And if you just start going through the spider web of cinema just in Criterion, you will discover so many things that you've never seen. You'll discover things that you haven't heard of in either ever or in a long time. You will find so much that is great. And it's again a great grouping of films that people just they seem to pull the same literally like 75 or 80 titles, and that's on every list. But come on, like everybody knows that Barry Lyndon is an incredible film. I don't need to recommend people Barry Lyndon.
Yeah, it's the same movies over and over again. But I'm telling you, you're the chat is recommending some bangers that people don't really talk about. I see
Yep.
Night Train to Munich in there. That's a great World War II movie. No one talks about Night Train to Munich.
Yeah. Ronnie says 5 of them here. Personal Shopper, love Personal Shopper. That movie's a masterpiece. God, there's some great titles here for sure. Mr. Whateverism says, I'm grabbing all of Tim's picks, so you win.
That's good. I hope I don't let you down, but I love all my picks. So,
Wave says Malcolm X 4K is a must buy. Still, I mean, yeah, of course, but we got to recommend other stuff.
Yeah, I'm not trashing that stuff. I mean, I love the Thelma and Louise and Princess Bride and all that stuff. Just the same stuff gets recommended over and over again.
Yep. Hard copy blues. I have a modest yet dedicated collection of Criterions and about 200 titles. In every sale, I find so many more I've never even heard of. So true.
Yeah.
Dude says I still haven't bought Barry Lyndon, and honestly, that's probably smart. Kino's probably gonna put it out on 4K the next year or two.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Terry, The Incredible Shrinking Man is great. The only reason I don't have the Criterions that I picked up the Arrow version not too long before Criterion's release. Nice. Gosh, there's so many more that we could just go on and on about. But
oh god, I mean, Imitation of Life got mentioned. I mean, there's some great stuff. Even like I've been in the noir mood too. So like I mentioned in a video recently, Mildred Pierce is so fantastic. There's so much in the Criterion collection, man. Oh my gosh.
This has been a great discussion. I feel like we could have made a list of 20 and easily pulled down 20 titles that people don't talk about enough.
Yep. I had a hard time because I'm like, I have too much that isn't talked about enough.
I originally had 9 titles and I had to whittle down 4. God, what were the other 4 that I had? Funny enough, Personal Shopper was one of them. I put them away and now I can't remember which ones. Oh well. Another one that people don't talk about enough, I'll throw out here, Hoop Dreams. Please check out Hoop Dreams if you've never seen it. Literally probably the best documentary of all time. Love that.
Again, came and went. Desibner is Sweet Smell of Success, awesome, and Detour, awesome. So my goodness, like the chat knows what's up and recommending some really great movies.
Yep, we got a pretty incredible chat here. But tonight, we've had a pretty incredible guest. Tim, thank you for hanging out tonight.
Thank you for having me. This has been 2 hours went quick, man.
It really does on here, yeah. Tim, Reggie, he showed the other 3. Tim said you had 8 titles. What are the other 3?
Yeah, Failsafe. This one, no one talks about this one. Things to Come, and the original Insomnia, which is way ickier feeling than the Nolan one. Like way ickier.
Tim, you're gonna have to come back and do another one of these because this has been too perfect.
I would gladly, man. I had a blast.
We'll get you on here in the next couple months for sure. Everybody, like I said, if you've never checked out Tim's channel, please do. Another positive voice, just talking about movies, talking about physical media, doing what we can to keep it going because in a hard time of the world, it's really easy just to shut down for the night and put on a film and forget about it.
Yeah.
Thank you everybody for hanging out tonight. We will see you again next Thursday. And if you've got an inkling to have more of these conversations, please check out the link below for the Patreon in the description. Sardis says Tim Talks Talkies recommends a silent film tonight. That was too funny to not mention. Good night, everybody. We'll see you next Thursday. We'll talk to you then.
Bye.
Thank you for watching The Disconnected. On the way out, make sure that you are subscribed to the channel, that you've liked the video, and that you've copied the link to be able to share with someone else that may appreciate this.